sorry, respected Professor Arya Kumar ji, past presidents of CVOCA, seniors, friends, and all viewers. On behalf of CVOCA Chartered and Cost Accountants Association, I, CA Jigar Ratilal Gogri, President, welcome you all. CVOCA Chartered and Cost Accountants Association is a 5-decade-old non-profit organization having professional excellence as its motto. It has more than 1,800 chartered accountants, company secretaries, and cost accountants belonging to Kachhi Visa Oswal community as its members. The association has been one of the highly respected and long-serving professional non-profit organization of CVO community, focusing on dissemination of knowledge in the fields of accountancy, audit, taxation laws, corporate laws, and business consultancy. CVOCA carries out various activities for its members, students, and general public. For members, CVOCA has been organizing study circles, workshops, and seminars on various academic and professional development subjects. It publishes monthly bulletin CVOCA News and Views containing articles of professional interest, updates on various taxation laws, and legal opinions. CVOCA provides assistance from Sri Shantilal Vesi Arya Education Fund for the needy students pursuing CA, ICWA, CS courses. It has also jointly with other social associations tied up with various classes for providing coaching to needy students at discounted rates. CVOCA also conducts free seminar on budget in Gujarati in central Mumbai and also at various suburbs. It also publishes budget booklet in Gujarati and English compiled by members of association. CVOCA also carries out representations before various government authorities for direct tax, indirect tax, and company law matters. Digital media are important for entrepreneurs and startups. They enable connecting with external audiences and customers through diverse channels and modes of communication, as well as facilitate internal communication, decision making, and organizational development. Technology has made it possible for small business to collaborate better with other businesses as well as their customers. We are fortunate to have with us such a learned faculty with us today who will be talking on technology entrepreneurship in 21st century. Without taking much of his time, I'll request Program Committee Chairman CA Sunil Dedia to please take on the further proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Jigar. Good morning, all of you. The outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic is an unprecedented shock to Indian economy. The economy was already in perilous state before the COVID-19 struck with. With the prolonged countrywide lockdown, global economic downturn, and associated disruption of demand and supply chain, the economy is likely to face a protracted period of slowdown. The micro, medium, and small enterprise segment is expected to play a significant role in the emergence of the Indian economy. The development of this segment is extremely critical to meet the national imperative of financial inclusion and generation of significant level of employment across the rural, urban, and urban areas across the country. SMEs are most vulnerable ones. This is because of their size, scale of operation, limited financials, and managerial resources. They are not able to cope up with the difficulties forced on them. Now it's time to hit reset and accept the new normal. It is a silver lining for the tech entrepreneurs for the past couple of months. SMEs can take this opportunity to innovate with more digitalization in their business models in order to increase touchpoint with their customers. In today's program, we'll come to know about creating a thriving startup ecosystem and its important elements. We'll also look into the roles of SMEs and challenges faced by them. We'll learn significant technology inputs and environment aspect that a small-scale industry will need to build up to move forward, and how this would imply better possibility of success of future. For this, we have with us Professor Arya Kumar. Before we start, I request CA Jaswin Savla, member of Program Committee, to introduce our learned speaker, Professor Arya Kumar.
Thank you, Sunil. It's a pleasure introducing our today's faculty, Professor Arya Kumar. Glimpses of profile of Professor Arya Kumar. He did his MA honors in economics in first class first in 1977 and PhD in finance management of higher education from BITS Pilani. He has diversified experience for more than 4 decades of serving in educational institutions, research organizations, banks, and financial institutions. He is presently Professor and Dean Alumni Relation at BITS Pilani. Previously, he served as director as a director for 3 years at Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management, New Delhi. He has made distinct contributions in building entrepreneurship ecosystem on campus, promoting patent-driven research, endeavors on the part of faculty, and building strong networking with BITS alumni across globe. He has published several research papers in national and international journals. He has co-authored 4 books in entrepreneurship, ethics in management, and general management. He has conducted workshops on technology, entrepreneurship education, entrepreneurship educators course by leading institutions and universities. He is a member of National Entrepreneurship Network India Faculty Advisory Board. He is expert member Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council and a member of Faculty Advisory Board of ECEL IIT. He has been awarded and appreciated for his dedication, interest, enthusiasm, and attitude in accomplishing his assigned mission of teaching by leading institute between 2011 to 2015. A warm welcome to the speaker, Professor Arya Kumar. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine. Before Professor Arya Kumar starts, I request C. Arvind Nagra, special invitee of Program Committee, to present an e-certificate to Professor Arya as a mark of appreciation.
Thank you, Sunil. On behalf of CVOCA Association, we happily welcome Professor Arya Kumar for enlightening us on technology entrepreneurship in 21st century. Sir, please accept this e-certificate of appreciation by CVOCA. Thank you.
Thank you, Arya Kumarji. Arya Kumarji, you can start your. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Namaskar and good morning to one and all of you. And at the outset, let me express my deep sense of gratitude and thanks to the CVO Chartered and Cost Accountants Association body for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on technology-driven entrepreneurship in 21st century. We have seen and realized the importance of technology in the beginning of this program itself, wherein financial wizards, more than 2,000 or so being the member of this particular body, and the core team, which has so nicely brought out the use of technology in sharing thoughts to different people who are based at different locations across the country. And that's the power of technology. That's the power of technology. We'll try to focus during coming 1 hour or so on relevance of technology entrepreneurship, mainly from a more sort of an Indian and a global context. Role of SMEs in the Indian economy and the need and importance of technology for them as far as taking them to the next level of a growth or a scale is concerned. And partly, as we know, the challenges in life or the problems in life force us to come out with innovation. Same has been happening with the existing SMEs and new SMEs to find out new ways of doing things under COVID-19 backdrop. We'll touch upon challenges faced by SMEs, and it's the challenges and the changes which forces us to innovate. So we'll touch upon that aspect briefly. And then we'll again go back to Indian economy, startup ecosystem, and technology enabler to sustainable growth. Mr. Sunil as well as Mr. Jigar has rightly focused that the whole economy world over, and Indian economy, is undergoing a major downturn. And in spite of the downturn on one side, financial wizards have to explain how nicely my stock markets have gone up again to around 39,000 by touching a low above around 28,000. And that's again a power of finance. And I would say the power which the financial wizards and financial professionals hold in any entity or any system for that matter. I always have a great respect, let me tell you, to the financial wizards. And during my more than 2 decades of a career in a banking industry, I always used to say it's a director of finance or the chartered accountant who is behind the company who is the key person as far as the company is concerned. Let's look at while we are talking about the entrepreneurship and what might have gone right or wrong in Indian economy. You would be surprised to know that the USA produces just 1 lakh engineers per year for a 24.22 trillion economy. Figures might be 23, 24 or so. Different sources keeps giving a minor variation in figures, which could be mainly because of either the technique used for measuring GDP, is it in PPP, current prices, or my real prices, etc. So 1 lakh engineers for 24.2 trillion economy, which we say is one of the giant power in the world, with the lead in terms of innovation, also one of the 5-6 economies which are recognized for innovations, as against India, which produces today around 19.48 lakh engineers for 2.94 trillion economy. You can look at the mismatch which has come, and that's the reason today more and more parents are sending their children, or children themselves are opting without bothering about the choice of the parents to the commerce and entrepreneurship and related areas which were not thought to be that important areas 10, 15, 20 years back. USA per capita income is around $59,792 and India is just 1942. Innovation ranking recently has improved to 48 for India, which was around 70 to 73, and the USA lies in number 3 as far as the innovations are concerned. Of course, when I talk to my friends and the alumni abroad today, they do say that we have been the giant power, but as far as responding to the challenge of COVID-19 was concerned, we have certainly not come up to the expectations, in spite of being a very rich economy. More than 50% GDP has no role for engineers. Remember that. An engineering degree costs around 10 to 15 lakh, implying around 21 to 32 billion dollars of waste for our economy. Now, it is in this backdrop, let me tell you that certainly a change has been happening in the mindset of the parents, mindset of the children. And in 21st century, children have started deciding about their own future, their own career paths, without bothering about the pressure which comes from the parents, which is something good which has been happening in India also in a big way. This very clearly reflects that there is a need for channelizing human talent and potential in alternate ways, whatever it is. So it is in this backdrop that we would like to focus on this entrepreneurship, which has been focused very nicely, I would say, from 2011 onward, although 2003-04 at a national level, we had come out by the support of one of the industrialists from IIT Mumbai, Mr. Romesh Wadhwani, as a National Entrepreneurship Network. And he said that if Indian economy has to grow, sustain, develop, and make a mark in the global framework, it would be channelizing the talent of a young minds for entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship. And in one word, we always say entrepreneurship is nothing but passion, 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 or a mindset, mindset, mindset. Entrepreneurship, being at the hub of the growth and development of any economy, has undergone changes. And today, certainly, it is far more risk prone compared to what it used to be a century back or a 50 years back or a 30 years back. And the concept of risk, venture capital innovation has been the new phenomenon, which was not so in the earlier decades. And it's an entrepreneurship which basically affects my economic development, the wealth creation, and making the best use of the available resources in an economy. So it is certainly has been recognized very well as a core for the development, and a lot has happened in the Indian economy also in the last 5-6 years as far as the giving a major push to the entrepreneurship development in an economy is concerned. Now, if we look at dividing the word economies, there are 3 broad categories in which we categorize them. One is we say factor-driven economies. Another group is efficiency-driven economies, and third group is innovation-driven economies. There are quite a large number of very small economies like Sweden, New Zealand, USA, UK, Australia, which fall in this category. But India, in spite of a great talent and a great human resource available with them, continues to be today a factor-driven economies, and we are moving towards efficiency-driven. Although a lot has been happening simultaneously in terms of Indians playing a giant role globally as far as innovation is concerned, and slowly they have started playing a critical or important role within the economy, Indian economy also. And you see a number of
sorry
ventures.
to interrupt you.
Yeah,
sorry
please.
to interrupt you. Just share your screen, sir.
Green is not shared.
No, please.
We cannot see your screen, sir.
Let me once again do it. Are you been able to see now?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, you could have told me earlier
Yes, sir.
also.
So
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. You just need to put on the slideshow.
Okay, I shall do it. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very much.
Sorry for the interruptions that happens in a technology. So Indians have been playing a very vital role globally as far as the leading multinationals or the Fortune 500 companies are concerned. They have also started playing a good deal of a role as far as innovations within the economy is concerned. And when we talk about this innovation-driven role, what matters the most as far as the global entrepreneurship monitoring, national expert surveys, it has to have a very ideal entrepreneurial finance ecosystem. It should have an education for entrepreneurship, wherein my schooling to the higher education should inculcate that spirit of entrepreneurship in the children's to the adulthoods. Government policies have to be far more favorable, far more easy, far more conducive for entrepreneurs to translate their ideas into reality. Government entrepreneurship programs in terms of facilitating the process has to be very active. And my R&D transfer, which gives rise to patents and intellectual property, should get more and more translated into the real world through the corporates and the new entities. And my internal market openness has to be there. And physical infrastructure, be it roads, power, and whatnot, has to be far more conducive. So in this direction, certain key steps have certainly been taken, and more has been happening as we are witnessing a change in terms of the entrepreneurship development. Let me share here with you in a 21st century, when I look at the first decade of 21st century, the one major thing which has affected the life of one and all of us has been the smartphones. And even I don't think the Steve Jobs might have thought of when he had come out with this new gadget that all power of a person in terms of his action, in terms of his delivery, in terms of his roles would get comprehended in his hand by a smartphone. Now, the smartphones have basically led to connecting billions of people. It has become far more global today, far more easy in terms of instantly reaching to each other. It has led to multiple innovative business models, and more ventures have come as an outcome of smartphones applications. It has become far more convenience in terms of easy to take our tasks today, and you need not go to the banks to do the banking transactions, and you need not go to the departmental store to purchase. All this has led to a lot of convenience. It is all that is happening in a real time, which was not feasible prior to smartphones. There was always a time lag. Now, instantly, I know what I'm doing and what are the outcomes. Speed has been extraordinary, which we can say even as a supersonic, and it has become quite more personalized. And in the backdrop of the smartphones and its applications, which has come out as a major transformational change through technology, my venture capitalists have also become far more active. Let me share with you my own experience in the 90s when the Indian economy was opened up and liberalized from 92 onward. A lot of opportunities were visualized, and large number of VC firms from abroad had set up their offices in Mumbai and other major hubs of entrepreneurial activity. But then in the late 90s and even early 2000, when I used to get in touch with them, I was finding it difficult to get connected with them, because very soon they realized that potential which they had visualized was not turning out to be a reality. And they had shut down their shops. But today, if I look at it from 2001 onward, there's a lot of craze for the venture capitalists across the globe to come down to Indian market and Indian economy. Now, if you look at this first decade, you'll be surprised to know some of the major ventures which have come globally, which have affected the way we live as all of us are concerned. The first half, Amazon has gone in a big way globally. Facebook has become part and parcel of a life for all of us. Of course, simultaneously causing certain challenges. Uber, Airbnb, and many more, and most of it you'll find are basically the ventures which are purely a technology and IT application related, not the hard code, I'll say R&D. It's the IT industry and their applications which have facilitated the way we live. Have demonstrated the power of network effects, and in doing so, completely change how people and the business interact. All my B2C and B2B businesses have undergone a total change. But let me alert you, and let me again give you the other side of the coin. The second half of first decade of 21st century, my Uber of a Travis Kalanick, Thorneosis, Elizabeth Holmes, and WeWork, Adam Newman, and many more of them who are very young, have tasted the success in terms of coming out of the new ventures, which have grown, scaled, made a lot of money, brought a lot of cash, but then were forced to quit amidst the scandals. Now that is where, when we talk about the entrepreneurship, the one thing which all of us should remember, which is so, let me reiterate for a financial professional also, my values and ethics are very paramount in a life, and there's no shortcuts in success to achieve success in a life unless and until we are highly value driven. And our scriptures are great, I would say, to be imbibed by each one of us, and which most of us internalize it, and then we would never dare to be dishonest, never dare to do anything wrong. But let me tell you, we may be slow in terms of progress initially, but the long term, it's the values and the values which matters the most. Tech entrepreneurs who change the Silicon Valley, let me not go into greater details, but then Apple $10.2 billion by Steve Jobs. And his quote, which I like the most, your time is limited in life, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Do something which you love, do something which you enjoy, and make some change which should be remembered by people, whether you are here in this world or not. All of us are here for a limited time, okay? What would be remembered is our good deeds and whatever we leave here. So Steve Jobs is focused on that. And all of us know his last part of the life was very difficult in terms of health part of it. 23andMe, $0.44 billion. Genetics will undoubtedly benefit people everywhere in ways we can't even imagine, but no will surely occur. So he's basically again focusing on a genetics, but you'll find the net worth of him as a founder has not been that high as Steve Jobs. But then today we are finding more and more of an application of a genetics engineering, genetics in a different walks of life, and more businesses are coming. Spotify, 0.80 billion, value of a company is the sum of the problems you solve. And there's no end to the problems. There's no end to the pain points of the customers. One has to keep coming out with the new and different and the better ways of solving it. Facebook, all of us know, Zuckerberg, $81.6 billion. Biggest risk is not taking any risk in a word. And there's nothing in this word which does not involve risk, okay? He has been saying that risk-taking is an inbuilt phenomenon. And if we just want to avoid it, we cannot grow. Brian Chesky of Airbnb, 3.8 billion. If you want to create a great product, just focus on a one person. Something like that has been the thought of the Vivekananda also. You should have a passion and you should focus on a one thing and get deeply involved in doing so with your dream and a vision that you would achieve it. Vivekananda also has been focusing on a similar thing, like a focus. Katrina Lake of Stitch Fix, 0.50 billion, delivering a service that consumers feel truly connected and get a distinct experience out of it. And you would find, if I look at all these businesses today, all these ventures today, none of them is a family-driven business. Now, I'm not undermining the family businesses, but what I'm telling is in 21st century, the businesses need not be proprietary of family businesses. Many businesses would come because of a human ingenuity, human mindset, human talent, and it is this talent wherein you'll find what we say the Saraswati, the Lakshmi would automatically chase, and more businesses are bound to come. If you look at parallelly in an Indian context, you'll find there has been a good stories. We had a Ola, we had a Address Health, we had a Zomato, and Zomato was again the first food delivery system which came from an IIT team. But then look at the power of technology. A late enterer in the same field, Swiggy, by the Bitsian team, had not only given a major threat to Zomato, but has superseded also. And the person has been given the Young Entrepreneurship Economic Times Award in 2019. You can look at it, my Swiggy and Zomato, which again basically says that you may have a first mover advantage, but that first mover advantage would not last forever unless and until you're always on your toes. Paytom, we know it, Fresh to Home, Myra, CureFit in the health sector. And if I look at the locations of these companies, you'll find Bangalore, Gurgaon, even UP, Bangalore, Gurgaon, Bangalore. Bangalore has certainly come up as a major hub as far as the ventures, germination of seeds are concerned. But the other good thing, if you look at it, my funding by these companies has been as high as $3.8 billion. $3.8 billion. If I had to convert into rupees, you can imagine how much of money has gone in terms of support this business. And maybe the venture capitalists might have done it. Our banks may not take that kind of a risk. Okay, and knowing it very well, these are not established ventures, knowing it very well that the initial phase, most of these ventures have gone through a good deal of losses. Still, venture capitalists have been supporting. So like my global phenomenon, you'll find my Indian scene also, we have been finding a good number of ventures which are coming in. Just to quickly sail you through my 3 Bitcoin companies, which have got into a list of unicorns very recently. Swiggy, I was talking to you about Shriyashtam Majeti. He got an Economic Times award also. And look at the young age, 2003 and 8 and 2010 pass out. And within a career of 10 years, building a company supplying 1.4 million daily orders, 1.4 million daily orders. A big basket, of course, by one of our senior alumni who entered into this business in 2012 and founder of a big basket, conferred with the Startup of the Year Award 2019 by Business Standard, India's largest online grocery company, and the latest entrant in a unicorn club. Company has crossed rupees 3,200 crores. But the best example which I would cite is a Postman, which again passed out of 2010 and 13 and managed to build an enterprise API platform. Look at the power of technology. API platform they built in 2014, raised 150 million Series C investment on an astounding $2 billion valuation. And all this game of a valuation, game of a finances, game of losses, and then still having a market worth is a best understood by, I would say, chartered accountants and the company secretaries. So it's a third Bitcoin-led unicorn. India might have a total of maybe 26 to 29 unicorns, of which 3 unicorns have come by the Bitcoins. It's a matter of great pride for our institution also in terms of giving such ventures to the economy. Similarly, I can keep citing very many. I come out almost every day a new venture and its story, the circulation on social media. Eruditus was the recent phenomenon wherein $100 million has been funded by the philanthropic organization of Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan. And it's an educational technology. They started in 2008 and doing very well. Pixel, look at it. In 2019, they came out, India's first Earth imagining satellite startup. Pixel raises 5 million seed fund from a round led by Bloom Ventures, Lightspeed India Partners, and a GrowX Ventures. Pixel will launch its first Earth imaging satellite this year, and they're also giving some inputs to ISRO. Reflexes is another wonderful example by Prashant Palagurthi, wherein he made a major dent in the United States market. Jabra Technology has recently, a month back, has taken over it at worth of $575 million. Now, these are the stories which you can look at from the technology and its implications. These are also the stories which gives a lot of confidence in each one of us. And these also throw light in terms of a change role for the financial wizards, which would be there in years to come. Now, in the backdrop of whatever has been happening in India and abroad, and let me tell you, a lot of hope is emanating in the Indian economy. If I had to define who is an entrepreneur is the one who dares to dream, dares to see through, and is foolish enough to try and make it happen, make it come true. People may say him initially, he's wasting his time, he's a foolish, but then he is passionate about translating his dream into reality. He dreams very big. He visualizes it every moment in his life, and he works for it in terms of realizing it. So therefore we say entrepreneurship is also mindset, fire, and passion. And again, if I cite few examples like Ritesh Agrawal, the 18 OYO, Deepak Ravindran at the 18 Inas Technologies, Shravan and Sanjay, aged 16 and 15, and all of you must have heard the name of, if I'm not wrong, Tilak Maheta, okay, who has used my Dabbawalas for a courier where he says, FedEx says delivery in 24 hours, he says pick up and delivery on the same day. And he says FedEx charges 250 rupees, he will charge 40 rupees. Look at the young boy at the age of 13 who is a school going and has been able to translate that business, and look at the opportunity in terms of how Dabbawala's income can be raised, in terms of looking at that perfect supply chain management, which has been well recognized globally, and using that as a thread in terms of his business proposition. So purpose of entrepreneurship, we say the founding for changing the world, making a difference, leaving a footprint. And this basically requires right or wrong. So whatever is happening is not happening right. And that is what should give you a creative thinking, which we say is a thinking which is a other side of the brain which does it. It's illogical, and it starts with the illogic, but then processes it in a logical way before taking it to reality. One way in which I always focus on entrepreneurship and the business being two different things. Business is doing a routine thing, and we say the lifestyle kind of an entrepreneur who is happy with sustenance of his family and not making a big brand, not making a big chain. And entrepreneurs are one who always look for 10x factor, 10x reduction in a cost, 10x reduction in a price, 10x increase in a speed of doing things in terms of a delivery at a 1/10 of this existing speed, and so on and so forth. Whatever customer looks at it, he reduces by 1/10. Now, ideas are the proprietary of everybody. All of us have been gifted by the gods to think differently, and we've been given with that potential power in terms of even elevating ourselves to a level of a god if we want to. So that is a proprietary of everybody. But my opportunities are not free. Opportunities have not been gifted to everybody. Opportunity requires a lot of sweat, a lot of hard work, a lot of passion. And ideas, when they get converted into an opportunity in terms of delivering a value to the customer, that can only come through transformation of a knowledge, diffusion of a knowledge, creation of a knowledge, and use of a knowledge. And unless and until we translate that knowledge into reality in terms of use, it is not worth it. It is not. And when I was giving an example of this postman or a Swiggy or Ola, all these people have transformed them and taken it to the customer in terms of giving value. And therefore, when we talk of a technology entrepreneurship, you will find knowledge would be the power in terms of responding to the challenges tomorrow, responding to the challenge in 21st century. And we have been witnessing it very well in terms of, you would see that future wars would not be a war between the armies. We have been witnessing the situation between India, China, India, Pakistan. Okay, it would be a war in terms of the use of a knowledge and power of the knowledge. So it's the one that stands apart as an idea, which is a great idea, and which gets recognized as an opportunity. And opportunities are always the one which has to come in time, which has to be sustainable, and which has to deliver a lot of value. Now, it is in this backdrop when we talk of innovations. The innovations are of three broad types. Of course, there are a large number of multiple ways in which we can define innovations. But remember one thing, my truly new, novel, and innovative ideas are just 3 to 4%. Remaining at 96%, and it's a 96% which do not give me a 10x factor. 10x factor comes here. So my innovations could be enhancement in terms of improvement, refinement of the features. It could be by a cheaper, better, faster, more user-friendly. So desktop PC to laptop PC to tablet PC, these are basically enhancements. Mechanical quartz, mechanical watch to quartz is again an enhancement. Extension is a mobile handset with a camera, FM radio, MP3. And today people say my mobile handset may have so many other features, and people are working. That just reminds me, very recently I was going through one news item. I think it's New Zealand which has come out with a power transmission which would be wireless. You can imagine now the power of this innovation. I would not be needing the laying out the copper lines across the, and going to the extreme interiors would not be difficult because wireless operation would be there. My losses, which are today in India around 14 to 20%, the power would get reduced to 0 or maybe 1 or 2%. Directly, it would get fed into the grid, so on the world. But these are, I'll say, creative destructions. Creative destruction. They are beyond my enhancement, extension, and specialization. They fall in 3 to 4% category. Specialization is a super specialty hospitals, low cost airlines, etc. So what is your chance of success as an entrepreneur? I keep highlighting it's a difficult journey. It's not a journey for everybody. So we say 1 in a lakh goes to IPO, 1 in a 1 million, 1 in a 1 million. Less than 1% chance that the business plan will receive VC funding. And remember, when you are badly in a need of a funding, nobody would give you funding. When your idea has really got a spark in terms of taking off, generating funds becomes very difficult. And it is here, let me tell you, a combination of technology, brain with the finance wizards like you should help the ventures to get the funding which would give a takeoff to a rising plane. 60% of high-tech companies that are founded by VCs go bankrupt. Great risk the VCs take. Founders, CEOs, and typically own less than 4% of their high-tech companies after an IPO. Rest goes to the public, rest goes to the VCs and so forth. Most high-tech companies that succeed in having an IPO take between 3 and 5 years to get there. So these are certainly a scary number. Let me not skip this, the time constraint, but the top 5 innovation economies by income group, if I had to look at it today, which is a recent development, my Switzerland, Sweden, United States, America, Netherlands, UK, they're the top 5 having a per capita income ranging between 45,000 to 65,000 and a high income. India lies in the third category, a lower middle income, where you can imagine the difference between the per capita income, and we are in the group of Vietnam, Ukraine, Georgia, Mongolia. But then very favorable and good changes have been happening, and all of us should support and contribute to that change which has been happening in terms of taking this nation to a greater heights to entrepreneurship development. Entrepreneurial talent in India is very well, I think, having a very deep foundation and roots. 5,000 years of entrepreneurship in India. Indian business acumen now globally acknowledged. From Africa to Silicon Valley to Southeast Asia, one can witness the footprints of Indian entrepreneurs. Let me quickly share a small real thing. When the Vasco da Gama came to India and wanted to go and identify this Indian territory, he came in a big ship, which was thought to be a big, at that point of time, 28 meters. And after a few years, when he landed up into Africa through his challenging sea route, he found a ship which was 2 to 3 times larger than the one on which he had a great pride, and which was built in by Indians, So that is the power of Indian minds. Indian minds, if you look at it, my CEOs of Indian origin heading global companies, my Sundar Pichai, Shantanu Narayan, Satya Nadella, Sanjay Mehrotra, Rajiv Suri, Indra Nui, and so on and so forth. And if I look at some of the new generation companies which have come, you would be very happy and thrilled to know that the 18 companies from Indian origin have generated $12.06 billion, and average funding has been 0.67 billion rupees, 5025 crores. So that's a power of, I think, big ideas, technology scalability, and the need for funding. So it's in this backdrop, let's try to look at SMEs. SMEs play a very critical role in the growth of any economy, be it employment, be it an exports, be it income generation, be it lending, be it a number of accounts, and so forth. And as being in a financial professions, as Sunil was rightly mentioning, they have undergone a quite a big deal of a challenge. And this challenge, we are trying to look at what way the power of contributing to the economy can be channelized in a still better way in terms of the sustenance, scalability, and growth. Ultimately, everything begins with a small and becomes a mega, depending on the foresight, depending on the dream. So number of SMEs today is 42.5 million, registered and unregistered. Employs 106 million, so 10.6 crore people, 40% Indian workforce. There are around 6,000 products which are reserved for the small sector. That's a priority for them. GDP is 6.11% they contribute. Output is a 45% of total Indian manufacturing. Exports, 40% comes from SMEs. Bank lending accounts for 16% of bank lending. And again, let me highlight it with my own banking experience. My NPAs are not that much in a small and a medium sector as they are from a large sector. It's a top 20, 30 big accounts, which creates a greater hassle in terms of risk to the banking rather than this segment. Fixed assets, it's a 1,471,913 crore, and the growth has been 10% consistent. MSME, which is a bit different definition, 633 lakh. Employment against 10 lakh in a SME, it's 11.10. Share in a GDP, 28 to 29%. Share of total industrial production, 40%. So it's fine. MSMEs, where the money which can be spent on a tech, plant and machinery is of a higher order, they contribute still higher. Now, key challenges which the my MSMEs are facing, on which I think as a finance, as a technocrats, we should contribute our valuable inputs. One is the scalability and sustainability. How can we scale them? And when I deal in a finance class, I say even your financial profit and loss account gives you 3 key insights about scalability, depending upon your variable cost, depending upon your margins, and depending upon your sales growth, etc. Intellectual property is the other greater challenge. They don't build, or if they build, they keep it in an open domain. Low value addition. So if he is adding a value of 10 rupees, he charges 12, 13 rupees to remain in a competition. But then you would find my startups, because you do not know what has gone inside as far as the cost is concerned by her resources. They charge as high as the customer is willing to pay out of the purse. And therefore, 10 rupees of a cost would get sold at 100 rupees, 200 rupees, depending on the value. But here they don't. Lack of innovation, technology upgradation, and modernization. And integrated infrastructure facilities and adequate flow of credit not being coming on the time is certainly one major challenge. And they find it relatively difficult to get. And in a small business, all of you would appreciate that if money doesn't come timely, or if my bills do not get paid timely by the customer, the whole cash cycle gets affected. And even a best company may not be able to sustain. And more so, when your formal channel is not giving you money, you'll find the informal channel in terms of going beyond your friends, philosophers, and the family members would be very, very difficult. And at times, even family members also, you'll find when the venture is not doing very well, the flow of money gets stopped. The reason for a greater opportunities in MSMEs is a low capital requirement. We can start small. I, in fact, keep telling to my student that start with as less as a 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 5 lakh of a business. And then think in of the scaling as you grow. And I also keep telling them that do not go to the venture capitalists as long as you have not built up a good clientele or prospect for a clientele whereby you can dictate your terms to the venture capitalists. Otherwise, venture capitalists are like a shark. They will swallow you and you may not get anything much for the tough times you have gone through. There are favorable government policies, reservation of certain products for SSIs, easy availability of funds and subsidies. Now it has become reasonably good. Today, even in an educational system, we have been able to give grants and the seed funds at 6% or even less than that. to the incubatees through a government support, be it a DST support, be it a BIRAC support, be it MSME support in terms of seed funding. Favorable policies for procurement of raw materials and machinery, extensive network for providing training, tooling and testing facilities and support, export promotion incentives, availability of domestic demand, and increasing demand for exports and growth requirements for ancillary units in India and abroad. So there are a good deal of opportunities, and these opportunities are not there only for entrepreneurs or business people, but also the financial professionals and financial wizards. Let me skip it. This was only from the point of view of giving you insight about MSMEs. So medium can have an equipment up to 50 crores. These definitions keep changing. And today up to 50 crores to 250 crores are being categorized as a medium. Micro is from 1 crore to 5 crore. Now, issues which are there for SMEs are basically 90% of the time startups fail due to self-destruction and not due to competition. Now, remember, what do I mean by self-destruction? There's something which goes wrong in their own way of operations. 10% startups that do succeed go through several near-death experiences. We, in a management term, says death valley. And it's a very tough time for them, but then they face it, respond to it, and come out of it. Lacks art of building scalable and sustainable startups. And what I say the 90% is they fail to align their 5 core dimensions, be it a customer, be it a product and flow of financing, be it a business model and the continuous innovation on them, be it a team. And this factor does play a very critical role, be it a family businesses, be it a professionally founding team coming from the same institution or a different institution. When some sort of a prosperity sign seems to be there, let me tell you, maintaining the harmony within the team becomes the greatest challenge, and trust building becomes the greatest challenge. One of the key factors which has been identified by the research is the team getting disintegrated, more so either at the extreme situations when the takeoff has not happened well, or for that matter, the second side of it, now it is going towards prosperity. This reminds me of Infosys story, wherein you would be surprised to know from 1980 to the journey which started in an Indian economy by the founder and the founding team, did not have a sign of a success till 1989. And everybody other than the key person, very humble, simple, said that we would like to now quit. But he said, nothing doing, what may come, I have to succeed and we will succeed. And today, Infosys was one of the leading companies which was listed in a NASDAQ also. And the most critical time which he says he found stress was stake of a nation when his company Infosys was getting listed in a NASDAQ. Today, let me not devote too much of a time, but my own personal experience suggests there is a lot of opportunities which are coming through the ecosystem, which is getting more and more favorable, be it the education sector, be it the government policies, be it ease of doing business, be it support coming from different ministries. DST has done a lot of work. Yesterday, there was a good news item which said, I think, around 27,000 crores of a turnover coming from incubatees, and more than, I think, 66,000 jobs been created with the small incubatees who have come from the institutions. BIRAC has been doing a wonderful work, tied the government machinery, and then the corporate sector, there are incubators. In China, there are 2,400 incubators, USA 1,500. India, as of today, we are going to far less. This number has to dramatically go up. But look at the Israel, a very small country, having 130 incubators and 0.065 million per incubator. Again, they may not stand anywhere near China or USA, but then far better than India if you look at it. Large number of programs have come, and I think each one of these programs is contributing. There's always a scope to further improvise, but then these changes are really, as I shared with you in earlier beginning of the presentation, many good things have been happening across. Doing a business, you'll find in India today, it has come down to 48. Things have been improving day by day. And if any one of you have some good new idea, having an expertise in a finance, nothing wrong in, I'll say, moving into the field of translating that idea into reality, along with your profession being the chartered accountancy. Okay. Every side, if you look at it, a business doing in India has improved a lot. Starting a business, online formation, etc., has become easy. Dealing with the construction permits have gone far easy. Enforcing contracts has become far better now. Funding and electricity has improved, so and so forth. Let me come down to the last part of it in the remaining 10 minutes or so. So entrepreneurship tasks, when you look from a technology point of view, the companies with the breakthrough and disruptive technologies, which I say are 3 to 4%, mainly have to revolve around 3 key factors: technology, people, and money. People is the human ingenuity in terms of talent. They use technology to come out with the scalable, sustainable ideas, and money flows automatically. Therefore, seed, angel, bootstrap, all this funding comes. And it's a entrepreneurial leadership in terms of a mindset that should build a team to use the technology. Now, if you look at some of the leading Oprah Winfrey, most amazing modern rags to riches stories of all time. Walt Disney, one of the biggest entertainment. Madam CVOCA, beauty in the hair products. Steve Jobs, all of us know. Bill Gates, all of us know. Now, this requires my unfair advantage. And combining these 3, technology, entrepreneurship, and education, to come out with the innovation, whereby this innovation should get translated through technology into an opportunity for creating a value by minimal resources of a right resources. Minimal resources for right resources. And when we talk about technology today, you'll find the main trends which are emerging are technology, people, money, everything has become mobile. So there's a mobile technology, there's a mobile people, there's a mobile money. And mobile technology, what I mean is the patents and commercialization. That culture is getting built up. More and more patents are coming in, but then still we have a long way to go compared to any innovation-driven economy. Mobile people, we say leadership with a vision and foresight. And their presence is omnipresent. Wherever they are, they inspire people. They inspire their team. Mobile money is a seed, angel VC. Today, people need not even go to the banks. Banks would come to them. I can share with you, in early 90s, I made at least not less than 50 attempts. I would say to that extent, I was an entrepreneur in getting into the chamber of a Maruti chairman who used to sit the next floor to me. I was heading a branch of my office in Delhi as a zonal head, and next floor was my Maruti office. But in spite of my best of the efforts, I could not succeed in giving the money, which I knew giving them would be very safe at the least cost. And I could get a green signal from my board in terms of even going for giving the money below PLR, prime lending rate. Because I was sure that we should have that, and giving 500,000 crores would not be difficult. And then one account would take care of my whole need for the business growth for the whole year. Same I tried with the NTPC, but lost because of, I would say, 0.15. So what I'm telling you is bankers would go to the customers in years to come. Entrepreneurial process is more important. It's not a person. Technology, when I say, it's the ability to generate many products, and there's a strong patent or a copyright protection and a strong market potential. This reminds me of one very good case to discuss with you. One of my alumni, Professor Sohi, who passed out, I think, in the 60s from BETS, is a professor in one of the leading institutions abroad, and has a lot many patents to his credit along with the institution. And 2-3 years back, in a front page on Economic Times, I found a news item saying that one of the courts in the United States has given a 800 crores worth of a penalty to Apple for using their technology without their consent. And now you can imagine that being a professor and his team and the institution, how much rich they would have become with just a simple order. So even a company like Apple could have done that. And that is where the point which I was mentioning in the beginning, my ethics and the values in the business are very, very important. And technology should have a strong market potential, and success of any business lies in technology, investment, and team. And all the three should be of a great value. If any one of them is missing, a technology without team would fail, technology without right investment of money would fail. Okay, remember that. Now, entrepreneurship, the simple strategies for success, we say is through technology, I can come with the first mover advantage. I can have a proprietary technology. I can have a complementary versus the competition. It is always better if we one think in terms of complementing the processes. Competition at times becomes a very killer instinct for each other also. Incremental enhancement versus the invention. So it's always better to have gradual incremental, but look for the invention or innovation. Total customer solution versus the product. So it's always better to go in for a total solution so that customer completely depends on you. And using small markets as a beachheads. So starting from the small markets and then taking a leap forward. This I think we can skip. Let me come down to the last 2-3 slides. What would be the change in a technology framework? Dueling neural networks is the one area which is giving rise to, like my mobiles, a lot of applications. Second, the zero carbon natural gas. From an environmental perspective, the power of plant efficiently and cheaply captures carbon release by burning natural gas. And then everything becoming artificial intelligence. So that's a third vital area. You'll find many new developments we would be witnessing in the coming 10 years as far as the breakthrough technologies in the years to come are concerned, which will provide great opportunities. The last part before we open it for discussion, here is a wonderful journey of a technology, applications for a pain point. Red bus, all of you might have heard of it. So here was a young boy in the 2008 from Pilani. He wanted to go back during his Diwali to the home. A plane he could not afford it in 2008 with the salary he was getting, and the train, there was no scope. He never wanted to have a hassle of a unreserved compartment. And that's a pain which gave him a thought in terms of why can't we have a linkage across the country by having online booking for the buses. And in 7-year period, in 2014-15, the company got sold at 800 crores. And the gentleman, after having some kind of a contract with the buyer to serve for some time, has now joined as a innovation advisor with I think not Andhra, this other state, and has been contributing in a policy planning. But then the technology power which I wanted to highlight was 2006, a company which was launched with the 5 lakh got sold at 800 crores. And if you look at this journey from 6, 9, 10, 11, every year they were on toes to keep coming out with something new. So Redbus got started in the 5 million rupees business. Turnover reached to 50, turnover reached to 300 million, 600 million, and sold the group. But power behind all this network being expanded across the globe, across the country, was technology and technology and technology. So with that, let me stop here. Looking ahead, we have a great opportunity to solve a variety of problems, to create profit, light bulbs for us, and opportunities in developing economies like India would be far, far more. There is already a lot many multinationals which would like to shift from China to India. If we can provide a good ecosystem. You can imagine the power of these multinationals in terms of providing employment, at the same time promoting exports and creating wealth in India. And in this process, you would agree that nurturing this environment, all of us as an individuals, be whatever profession we are, be it an educational institution, be it the finance professionals, be it a technocrats in a company, we can be innovative within our own job role, and we can be innovative and getting added with some kind of a risk-taking ability. We can become an entrepreneur too, and there is no age for entrepreneur. People have become entrepreneur and succeeded in creating ventures at the age of 13, 20, 26, 40, 45, 60, 65, 70 also. So we can remain young as long as we channelize our God-gifted energy of power of ideas, and we should keep doing that in whatever way. But I can assure you, while concluding, that finance roles are very, very critical role in any organization, for any venture, be it a startup or established business. And finance roles should be with utmost integrity. That's the second thing I would like to highlight. And third thing, there are no shortcuts in a life. It's always a painful and plentiful kind of a situation with the values been strong. And third, in every role, there is a lot of potential for us to come out. And the role of chartered accountants, the role of financial wizards, let me tell you, would be a very powerful role in creating this ecosystem for startups by providing the services, be it in terms of formation of a company, be it in terms of registering company, be it in terms of giving the services to accounting practices to be followed, etc., or accounts preparation and auditing, be it raising funds, it's a big business which is going to be there. And more and more of the technology in terms of finance, be it a fintech tools, will be utilized in years to come. I keep saying that making a balance sheet and profit and loss account would become purely a mechanical process. And what would be requiring ingenuity is the quality of money to be brought in and the rates to be fixed for that. Just to conclude my banking experience, to relate with you, I admire one of the director finance of one of the largest textile company in India, which has got the largest number of spindles in India. I wanted to have him. They were with us for some time. My next loan of 50 crores, when I wanted to give him, for the first time, I learned from him that there could be a 12.15 kind of a thing, and not necessarily 12.25 and 12.5 and 12.75 kind of interest rates. And he was bent upon coming down to 12.15. I'm talking of a late 90s. Okay, but I admire the learning which I had from him in terms of uprightness, in terms of ethics, in terms of values. So with that, let me conclude here, and I would be very happy to have any questions for a few minutes which are left out now. Thank you so much to one and all of you for a patient listening. Thanks a lot for joining on a Sunday, leaving aside your other works. And, I'm sure it must have been worth spending the time. Thank you so much. And all of you are welcome anytime to get connected with me. My email is available on the BITS website. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot to one and all of you for joining this webinar. And thanks a lot to organizing team for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arya Kumarji. I'll take out some questions which has come to me first. So we'll start with first question. How non-technology person can venture into tech buzz to transfer from his current venture? He has no idea, do not have skill to transform.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's a wonderful question. Let me tell you, let me cite a wonderful example for most of the very powerful, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah.
Just screen share. There is no need of screen now, I think so.
No, I removed it.
Yeah.
Just to share with you, you see, behind every venture, there is a complementary skills. And if I look at my Microsoft, all of us know Bill Gates very powerfully, but most of us do not know the Paul Allen, who was behind it. Alan Paul is also equally rich like Bill Gates. And it's a joint team of both of them, wherein a whole technology ingenuity came from Paul Allen, and translation of that into action came from Bill Gates. So we get connected with Microsoft knowing Bill Gates, not the Paul Allen, which is true for most of the other ventures. See, nothing in this world we can do without joining hands. Getting the right people who are harmonized with your thinking, having a complementary skill is again the greatest art of an entrepreneur. You may be a financial wizard, but if you find somebody who is technologically strong and has got a powerful idea, join hands with him and pull up your energies together. Bring in a third person who may be extraordinarily good in terms of marketing and selling. Okay. So no venture can succeed in this world without the complementary skills. None of us is perfect in all areas. Okay. And all ventures, if you get the depth of it, you would find there is a people who get recognized in the outside world, but they may not be technology savvy. Technology comes from somebody else. Let me again share you one more thing. Some of the powerful ventures which have changed the world in which we live today. One research study suggests that it has not come from a technocrat, but it has come from a social scientist, be it a psychologist, be it a philosopher for that matter. So their main domain of education was philosophy, history, or psychology, but they complemented very well with another person who brought the technology on the table. Okay. So don't think that you lack. You have to identify where you have an excellent power being given by the God to you, and then bring in another person who complements you.
So,
Good.
one more question: how to get your proof of concept that whether this is a problem, whether really it's a problem solving, whether it will attract the people, whether it will attract the investor? How to get it? Getting a proofreading, something like that.
Good. See, there are two questions inbuilt in this question. One is how to identify a problem which is a pain to the somebody. When I say somebody, it's a customer. And it's only a customer who knows where does the shoe pinches. So getting connected. And second thing which we say is observe minutely and keenly whatever is happening around you. Sitting in this webinar, what all is going at the back of it, what Zoom is doing, what each one of us is doing, what role each one of us is playing, what resources are getting utilized. If somebody wants to keenly observe it, and what hassle temporarily have come, and how to overcome that. Second thing is proof of the concept for anything does require a lot of experimentation. And my product-driven areas, it takes a lot of time also. But wherever you develop your idea in conjunction with the customer, then let me tell you, proof is already well established because there is somebody who is making you advance payment for developing the product at different stages. And you are doing as per the requirement by the customer.
Correct.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. So proof of the concept requires an experimentation, and ultimately it's a customer who has to validate it. And just to add to that, one of the again very renowned industrialists come the inspiring speaker at a Stanford school. What is his name? I'm forgetting his name. He is very powerful. So he says when you have to validate your concept, amongst other things, always try to go for an instinct of women. Women's have got a powerful instinct in terms of giving you a feedback, which the man doesn't possess. And the word which he uses, he says, man has got a relatively higher killer instinct, while the women has got a create instinct. And therefore, if you want to test out the proof of the concept for some of the product or service, go to the women's and take their feedback other than the customers.
One more thing. Then, how to set your mentor? Suppose I want to go for something, you need some mentor for it. So, how to set a mentor?
See, it's a something like marrying decision. Okay, identifying a prospective bride or bridegroom, and there has to be a lot of compatibility between the two, so that they sail through for a long innings to be together. Now, in an entrepreneurship, the mentors play a very, very vital and critical role. And we say mentors are just like guide, philosopher, and coach. Okay. Without directing, he comes very close. It's something like, you see, between husband and wife, you direct the wife to do something, the wife directs you to do something, you have an aversion. So mentor has got a particular aptitude. Second thing is, mentor should have a lot of capability and competence in the area in which you are looking for his support. And therefore, we say angel investors who would like to promote could be a wonderful mentor. Third thing, from my personal experience, when I talk that BITS students have been highly entrepreneurial, the best thing which has been happening is BITSians in 70s and 80s in a Bay Area have done a lot. And today, when I develop my educational programs on entrepreneurship, I involve them and I match them in terms of mentoring process. So between faculty who is purely a teacher and doesn't have an entrepreneurial experience, let me tell you, having a person who has gone through that journey would be far better mentor. So always look for the mentors who have gone through this entrepreneurial journey, who would like to get passionately wedded with you. And to a faculty in one of my talk, I have said that they could only become a mentor because of maybe one, because they have an ability to coach. But second reason, which has a good faculty mentors, are the one who have good stake like faculty abroad in a Stanford or a Babson or a Haas school, where faculty takes a risk by putting a money in the student-driven ventures. So mentor selection is certainly a very vital skill for an entrepreneur. And it's better not to have a mentor as long as you do not find a right mentor who have got the right capability and competencies to support you during your tough times.
Sir, one question is like this: What tech innovation you forecast by 2030?
It is a very, very difficult question, and let me tell you, this question can only be answered by the people who are passionately think far ahead of time. I'm sure when the first telephone came by Graham Bell, he might not have dreamt that mobile would come or my smartphones would come. But there must be people who are thinking of what would be the next to smartphone. But I can say confidently one thing, coming decade would be full of innovations, which would be technology driven. Quite a number of ventures which have succeeded very fast. I gave you an example between 2005 to 10. They are not moving at the same pace as they were moving earlier. So things to come would be in the area of artificial intelligence, the smartphones, the mobile phones, the genetics, and related area. But I cannot really say what would be the next big thing to come.
I agree, because the changes are coming so fast. So it is, I agree with you. So now the two questions are related to Indian this thing, that as in technology entrepreneur, is government of India providing any support? And along with that, there is one more thing that, as quoted initially, the cream students flies away as a good quality life and financial package. Will there be any scarcity of technology in upcoming days in India?
See, the government policies have become far more favorable to youngsters today. When I said that there are 140 incubators in India today, of which maybe the 95% are in the government sector and remaining are by the corporates. Most of these incubators, although they do take some equity stake, which is very genuine for them to have provided a lot of facilities and services in terms of trying out new ideas, in terms of taking risks, etc. But then most of these incubators, other than giving you a ecosystem to get connected with the labs and the technology in the institutions, also give you a seed funding support at a very, very nominal cost, which is far, far below the bank rates, etc. So coming out of the technology idea, today it has become far more conducive in terms of incubation facilities available in the corporate sector and the educational institution. Second big thing which has happened in India, you would find, if not more, out of 500 Fortune companies, not less than 100 to 150 companies have set up their offices, the research centers, or manufacturing company outlets. And large number of them are inspiring more and more Indian corporates also to create an environment within the company which should be entrepreneurial, which should provide an opportunity to an employee to become entrepreneur. Like I keep citing the examples of IBM, Xerox, 3M, all these companies happily give a time to the employee. Out of 5 days, 1 day you spend on the way you wish to, the way you want to. And if you come out with some workable idea, either we will implement it and give you equity in it, or you can go out and we'll support you in terms of taking it off, although you may be a competitor to me. But then obviously when he is supporting him outside, he would not work as a competitor. So look at that. And that kind of a culture is slowly coming in India too. Today, my technology entrepreneurship in terms of resource availability at educational level, as well as why my youngsters who start a job at 20, 25 lakh rupees of package, leave a job after 3 years and start thinking of doing something on their own because they don't enjoy the job. And there's something which is burning in their mind to do something which should be distinct. So today my ecosystem is far more favorable than what it was 10 years back, and it is becoming every year more favorable. We were at 133 innovation, came down to ease of business to 48 this year from 73. You can imagine the changes which have been happening. Yes.
Yeah, the increasing technology entrepreneurship and increase in artificial intelligence, you feel that there will be a issue for the unskilled person or something like that?
See, any technology, unless and until it becomes very easy to be deployed and used by the customer, it doesn't get scaled. The best example which I would like to give you, my first online search engine account which I opened was in the year 2000 in Yahoo. Okay. But the first search engine as such had come as a Hotmail by one of the Bitsian, Sabir Bhatia. Okay. He was the one who was a pioneer in terms of being a dropout from Bits and came out with the Hotmail and sold at the right time. Between Hotmail and the Yahoo, I was not comfortable being in a, say, a banking industry to think of a search engine. First time somebody told me, I joined it. I was comfortable with it. But within 2 years, when I visited one of my friends, and he spent 5-7 minutes with me to make me learn about a Google, I opened a Gmail account. And now I don't browse on my Yahoo. Yahoo has lost that race which the Google has given to Yahoo. And today my Gmail is far more easy, far more convenient, far more, I'll say, facilitative to the customer. Therefore, more and more business for them is coming, not from charging us, but from my advertising, but from my other databases, etc. They give me this service free of cost, but it's the ease of operation. So therefore, you'll find unless and until my technology makes something very easy to operate. Today, my ATMs are being used by illiterate fellows, although they always used to have an inhibition, isn't it? They have started depositing money in a ATM also.
Correct.
So basically, a technology superiority only lies in becoming far more easy in operations. What goes at the back end of the technology should never be known to the customer, because if he knows that, he would not pay you what value is deriving. He pays you as much as you can snatch from him based on the value without knowing what inputs have gone into it. Okay. So unskilled person would not have any challenge as long as technology supports in terms of ease of doing things and earning for more. I was giving an example of this Tilak Maheta. Now, Tilak Maheta at the age of 13 basically had utilized the ingenuity of a Dabbawalas. That there's a perfect chain which is operating throughout the Mumbai. So delivery is very easy. They never misfire any of the tiffin box to go at the right place and collect back and deliver back at the home. So why not to use it for, and now today if you look at his business, you can track everything. He might be charging 40-50 rupees for a per consignment to be delivered on the same day, but you can track from picking up from the home or the office, where is it now? Because of the chain of Dabbawalas. And he might have used embedded technologies or some other applications over there.
So, sir, what do you advise if someone is, some concept is not getting successful, that someone feel depressed? What do you suggest for them? That they are trying something for entrepreneurship, some ideas they are trying, but somehow they are not getting success. So what do you suggest for them?
See, there are two things in which we have to look at this. One is, as long as internally I'm convinced that the time for this idea has come and it would succeed, do not give it up, because a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and a lot of money has already gone into it. But then there is always a second side of a coin. If you are getting some instinct within that enough is enough, no more, and whatever I lost doesn't matter, think of a new next big idea. Okay, but then that stage normally should not come. Normally should not come. An entrepreneur is the one who would not give up very easily. And with today's my educational tools which are available with me to weigh my idea and see how it is growing, etc., to measure the success, etc., I would have far more clarity in my mind whether I am going in the right direction or not. But as I was mentioning at some stage, this phase of a death valley, phase wherein you hope and expect a lot to come back, but it is not coming. A tough time in your life does come, but then it is against that the survival instinct of an entrepreneur works. There is one movie known as Vertical Heights. Okay, it's basically for a mountaineering.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful movie in terms of seeing once you are very clear about a goal and if you focus on it, what may come, nothing would come on your way. Nothing would come on your way. That spirit of I can would prevail over it, and God would certainly help you. But then there's nothing wrong in giving it up at some point of time, even if you know that the losses may become far more than what it is. It's something like a share market. Okay, we at times sell off our stocks at a loss because we know this loss I can absorb, but the loss could be far more if I don't take that decision now. And that is what brings a thrill into the stock market, isn't it? If suppose everybody is just only buying and everybody is just only selling, the stock market would never operate.
Correct.
And the same is there in the entrepreneurial journey. If ultimately it comes, one may have to think of looking at a different direction. And that is where you'll find my youngsters, what they do is, they sell off their business idea at the right stage when they know the challenges ahead would be far more. I gave you an example of Redbus. Redbus was doing very well. They started earning profit. Still, he sold it 800 crores because he thought now the technological upgradation scalability and sustainability would require far bigger talent pool of technocrats, far bigger resources in terms of money and expansion globally. Therefore, he thought it's better for me to come out of it and think of a next big idea.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Arya. Friends, I feel he has covered major part of our questions. I totally agree with him that technology brings everything. Now, Professor Arya is sitting at Pilani, Rajasthan, and is talking to us and he is addressing every queries and everything. I agree that there is no shortcut for success in life. As Steve Jobs says, your time is limited, so don't waste in living someone else's life. So I think so. Let's try for a big entrepreneurship or advise someone or guide someone for the same. I request convener of program committee, CA Mehul Gala, to present a vote of thanks. Mehul, please.
Thank you, Sunil Bhai. Friends, everyone would agree Professor Arya has enlightened us today on this topic of technology entrepreneurship in 21st century. He has delivered a talk on this topic in a very simple language, giving various ideas, giving various practical examples. We are thankful to you, sir. I, on behalf of CVOCA Association, thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time and enlightening us today on this topic. I'm pretty sure the audience would have benefited from it. I would also like to thank the committee members of program committee of CVOCA Association, as well as the managing committee members of CVOCA Association for helping me throughout throughout this program. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot to one and all of you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Arya ji. Thanks a lot.